Good afternoon. My name is Blaise Bova. I'm the Executive Director of St. Vincent de Paul of Alameda County, and I'm here to welcome you to our annual fall fundraising hybrid event. This is an event for those of you who have come to watch in person. Thank you very much for coming, and also for our audience who are viewing us remotely from anywhere in the world via Zoom webinar. So thank you all for coming as well. We have a lot to talk about in a very short period today. We're only going to keep you 45 minutes, so I want to get started right away, and I'd like to invite Brittany Collins-Rogers, our HR generalist, to the stage to lead us in a little invocation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Whichever form is most comfortable for you, feel free to close your eyes and bow your heads. We'll take a moment to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is thy power, the glory, the dominion, forever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. We have a silent auction, which is part of this event. It's been running for a few days now, and it will be running for just 2 more days. Sunday at midnight is when the auction closes. I believe there's an image in the corner of your screen that shows the URL of that auction. You probably also have it in the invitation that you received. So we'd like to encourage all of you to get in the auction and bid on some things. We've got some great items. I think there's over 40 of them, and the prices are still pretty good, I believe. We don't have hundreds of bids moving things up. So we hope that you'll participate in that. Today, we have broken our program into 3 areas. We're not going to talk about each of our many programs here. For example, we won't be discussing our charity dining room, our free dining room that serves 600 lunches. We won't be discussing the wonderful work of our Vincentians in our 36 parish conferences who help families in their own neighborhood with anything from food to rent and utilities to avoid eviction. But we are going to focus on 3 of the programs that we operate from our downtown West Oakland direct service campus. One is our community center, which includes the men's and women's center and a clothing closet, a barber shop as well. One is our shelter, our overnight shelter. Shelter is a very big deal in Oakland and around the country these days. And one is our Kitchen of Champions culinary training program. So we're going to take about 10, 12 minutes for each one of those. The first one we'd like to focus on is the community center. And the community center is managed by a wonderful employee named Brenda Addison. And Brenda has been working with us for the last couple of weeks, putting this program together, having great ideas, as she always does. She's been with us just a couple of years now, but she's really brought a lot of life to the community center with all of her passion and enthusiasm. She loves bringing new things in and doing things and welcoming more people into our community center and in our community. So she's an incredible asset to our team, and I wish that she were able to be here this morning, but unfortunately, there's been a family medical emergency that pulled her away, so she's not able to be here. Fortunately, we did videotape one of our rehearsals, so I'm actually going to show you that videotape in lieu of Brenda's presence here at the stage. And it won't be quite the same, but hopefully it'll give you a sense. So can we roll that video? This is Brenda Addison. She is the manager of our community center, which includes the space that you're in right now, or where you're viewing, as well as a men's center, a clothing closet, a women's center that helps families and all kinds of things. But I wanted her to answer just a couple questions for us. I think most of the folks in the audience is aware that we offer showers, clothing, and laundry to unhoused people, but we also do a lot for families. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Brenda?
We provide free laundry services and diapers to families in need. So no parent should face the heartbreak between buying diapers or paying their rent.
Yeah, that's really important. You've done a great job, Brenda, with our 3 big events each year, the Easter party, the Christmas party.
We've had so many events here at St. Vincent de Paul Community Center. We have a domestic violence awareness day, a health and resource fair sponsored by Kaiser, a Mother's Day brunch, Real Talk men's group on Tuesday, coffee and music on Tuesday, sip and paint in our women's center, Halloween parties for both our guests and children, a breast cancer awareness day, and many more. Our community center is for the community. We are a safe hub. Everyone is welcome. We are a community center united by a common purpose to make positive changes in people's lives that enter our doors. Together, as a community, we strive to break the cycle of poverty. So our next video that you are about to see is an example in how we help people in ways you couldn't imagine.
You know, I was up and coming Oaklander. I had been married. I had bought property, trying to get to the next level like so many of us were. I went through a divorce. I had to give up the house. I was in a court battle with my parents' home. And so I just, at a point where I just gave up and I became unhoused at that point. I was hiding out. I was depressed and I was unable to work. And so with the support of St. Vincent's, I was able to sort that out and get back to myself. And I'm feeling so much better now. St. Vincent's was able to help me to maintain my dignity during that time. When I came here, I didn't feel like I was homeless. I was able to get a hot shower. The Women's Center is very appealing. It felt like a spa, really. I was living on my bus. I was living on a Greyhound bus. And so I would come here first thing, get a shower, have a meal, and then I could get on with my day. And because of St. Vincent's, very few of my friends knew about my situation, that I was living on a bus. Without St. Vincent's, I would have been in a lot worse shape. People need this service here. People really do need this service. They offer me help with the housing, the clothes, mental health. The staff here is great. They keep the place safe without making you feel belittled. What kept me from improving for so long was blaming others. But when I started taking responsibility for myself, that's when my life started to improve. I was in my own way for a lot of time. I hadn't taken advantage of services that were available for housing because I was ashamed and because I was so used to being able to get it together, right? I don't know where I would be without this service. The fact that they were here for me when I was trying to find my way back, that they meet you where you're at and they support you and you have an opportunity to get your life back.
What a phenomenal video that we were able to share. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcel Lloyd, and I'm the Director of Programs for St. Vincent de Paul. I've had the honor and blessing of being able to work here for 5 years. It'll be 6 years in January. Today, I share the stage with a man that I truly respect. He embodies what it means to be a man of character. He embodies what it means to be a man that upholds Vincentian values. He's a man of grace, and I find it a pleasure to work with him weekly as he oversees our shelter. And I'm speaking of this great man here, Mr. Leland Wells. We all give him a big round of applause. Now, I know he doesn't like to be on center stage with the focus of attention on him, but he does a phenomenal job. And so what I do know that he's excellent at and likes to put the focus on is St. Vincent de Paul's partnership with the city of Oakland and our emergency shelter. So Leland, I want to ask Leland a couple of questions and give us some insight and share a few things about the shelter. With homelessness being a big topic across our nation and even greater, I would say, in the city of Oakland, Leland and his staff and our case manager, they do a lot for our guests. Leland, can you explain to me how staff have changed the outlook on what it looks like and feels like to stay in a shelter? At the onset of COVID, there was a major need in the shelter to change the culture. And we needed to change that culture that established trust, it established dignity, and it established respect amongst the guests that we serve. Can you expand upon how you're able to make this happen?
Yes, in the beginning, it was very, very hard because we had to put a lot of safety procedures in place. And as you well know, most folks who come to the shelter, they don't like rules, they don't like to follow regulations and all that other stuff. So we had to really kind of will them in to kind of get them to understand that it was important that we all followed the procedures. And once we were able to get their buy-in, it just changed the whole shelter protocols. You know, on a daily basis, we had to like really reinforce that we were here to keep them safe. We were here to take care of them. And, you know, it was a place where they could just be safe and learn and take care of themselves. At one point, we went through really educating them about harm reduction, really trying to get them to understand when they're out there in the element, that there's certain things that they needed to do and to keep themselves safe. And also when they came into the shelter to keep us safe. And I think that made a lot of sense to them. And, you know, at one point we had this big conversation about the world being in a state of emergency and what we could do with each other to keep each other alive. During that time, some of the shelter individuals, their parents passed away and things of that nature. So we really, really focused in on that. And at the end, we all decided that we needed to depend on each other for love, support, and an understanding while we went through the difficult period.
Wonderful. So I see how you transformed the shelter when we were going through COVID. And I see in the shelter now how you helped transform the education into the current times where I see a lot of trust, dignity, and respect that our guests and the staff have for each other. Can you expand upon that a little bit about the trust and dignity and respect that you were able to build within our shelter?
Well, first of all, trust was very hard for most of them because a lot of them have come to the shelter, they're broken. They've been through the system has failed them. And, you know, when they come to a place like this, the first thing that they think of is another place where they're going to fail. So getting them to sit down and talk with you, getting them to sit down and explain their story or share their story with you is a milestone for most of them. And usually when that happens, you know, you got them. So.
Thank you very much. So I know that we went through education, through COVID. You've established a shelter that has trust, dignity, and respect on it. I know that you and our case manager, who will be on stage here in a moment, do a lot on your own and with their own personal time to help our guests, from driving them to DMV appointments, to taking them to the social service department to get social security cards, to get birth certificates. And you do this on your own time and extended hours, 8 to 10 hours a day to do this. Why is providing this level of extra service so important for you?
Well, like I mentioned before, most of the guests come here broken and confused, and they've been victims of the system. So most of them are ashamed and afraid and are scared to ask for help. So, and also a lot of them feel like if they ask for help, they're going to be judged. So I feel that I've been blessed with a gift to advocate, protect, and serve.
Thank you, Leland. Thank you for your helping us understand why you and your staff provide this extra level of service. To expand upon what you and your staff doing, today we have a special guest that is present in the audience with us, and his name is Jason Gaines. And I would like to share a video that goes into some of his testimony.
I learned about St. Vincent de Paul by way of accident, actually. I called a couple of shelters and because it was my first time. ever inquiring about a shelter. I wanted some information, so I called, and that's how I learned about St. Vincent de Paul. As a gay man, I felt apprehensive because I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. So I was closeted up until four years ago. Leaving the faith left me alone because when you leave, you lose your family. And I thought I had it under control, but I didn't. I was self-destructive. And I think it was, due to depression, you lose your friends and your family. Everything that you put your life on is now gone. I, was working and I had my own space, but I was also dabbling with drugs. And it caught up with me. I didn't know that would entail being homeless, but it did. I was staying here, there. I was kind of all over the place, and I stumbled upon this place again. And I was finally dropped off, and here I am. Here I was. I was like a deer in headlights. I had no clue as to how a shelter works. I was scared. But the treatment that I personally got, that's when I actually started to see the beauty of this place. They saw someone who wanted to receive the help. I wanted to do something that would replace working because I was used to working. So they told me about the KOC. And from there, I started to actually see how this place functions, how it helps people, that it helped me to focus on what I needed to do, getting used to getting up in the morning and having a goal. That is what the KOC did for me. Nicole got me a job actually, and was like, this is what you do. This is what you can do. You got this. The encouragement was great. Let's go. After the KOC, I received a food handling certificate. And so I was able to get a job in food service, and the job is awesome. I got housing by way of St. Vincent de Paul, Leland and Clovis. They kept on it and they found something for me. And the universe, God, Buddha, Jesus, we're going to show you what life could be if you continue to make these choices. So we're going to put you in a situation that's going to bring you back out. And that is what St. Vincent de Paul was and is for me. It really was a beautiful experience. I must say, this has been the most beautiful experience I've ever had, as crazy as it may sound. So thank you.
So at this time, I'd like to introduce Clovis Gibson, and she is the case manager for this shelter and as well as the community center.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vincent. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clovis Gibson. I am the case manager here at St. Vincent de Paul of Alameda County. I work with, very close with Leland. I work with men and women who come into our shelter and in the community center, helping to navigate for housing resources. We work one-on-one, and we navigate until we get to through the process of what it is to become stable and housed. Okay. So we seen the video, and we have heard from our guest, Mr. Jason, and he shared his success story of how he went through his process. And so I'm going to ask if Jason could please come up to the podium. Jason.
Hello.
So Jason, you mentioned in your video about how case management helped you to navigate through your process and how you started when you came into the shelter and where you are today. Can you expand a little bit more about how that process went for you?
Yeah, after speaking with Leland and Clovis, after doing their rounds there at the shelter, I realized there was something in place that assist individuals who wanted the assistance. And they really helped me with that process, with making sure I was documentation ready, meaning you had all your identification, you had what you needed in order to move forward. They saw to it that that was put in place, or that was something that I had. And the steps continued as they helped me get housing, as I have housing now.
Thank you.
Okay. Jason, in your video, you discussed or you commented on the shelter and your stay there. And can you share with us a little bit about how that made you feel, or how we made you feel?
Like I mentioned before, I never experienced staying at a shelter, but as time went on, I realized it was clean, it was orderly, and they feed you pretty good, and I felt safe.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
I will bring Blaze Bowe back to the stage. I will exit.
Thank you, Leland, Clovis, and Jason. The last program that we want to talk about today, can you believe we're way more than halfway through this event already? It feels like it just started. The last program is our Kitchen of Champions training program, culinary training program. You've been hearing about that a little bit from Jason, but now we get to meet the coordinator of that program, Nicole Murray, who's going to be joining me on the stage now. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi.
Nicole's been with us only since January of this year, but in that time, we've actually doubled the number of students in each cohort, in each class, that there were for the 3 or 4 years before. We have better students than ever because of where she's recruiting them, and some great, great success stories. And the way Nicole works with each of our students is just amazing. I think you can see from her face and her smile that's so infectious. People tell her that all the time, as they should, that she is the kind of person who can instill positivity and optimism and confidence in anyone, even folks who are, as we've been mentioning, a little bit broken. So that's exactly what people in our program need, and we're so delighted to have Nicole on our team.
Thank you.
So I just want to ask a couple of questions of you about the program. One is that we know that a culinary training program involves a lot of cooking training, and we know Chef Ron does a great job with that. But there's another whole side to the Kitchen of Champions, isn't there? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, of course there is. We teach 9 different modules, just to name a few: effective communication, interviewing skills, and job hunting skills. The modules are taught by our volunteers. Of course, we're always looking for more volunteers, and we're always trying to get the students prepared to go out there for job searching, giving them the skills to be able to do it, to wear the proper clothing that they're supposed to wear, and also do the mock interviews to get them ready just for the questions that come along in an interview.
Sounds great. Now, from my perspective, even from my perspective, I see a big change in the students from the time they get here for the first day through the 9-week program, and then the graduation ceremony at the end. Sometimes it seems like 2 different people because they've gained so much confidence and they've built themselves a team. But I bet from your perspective, you really see those changes in even more detail. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, that is actually one of the highlights of my job here. Sometimes you see students come in here with they come in here, they may have lost hope in themselves and people, and also the student in themselves, they walk around with their head hanging down or looking as if they're mad at the world. But within a couple of weeks, we do see them smiling. and believing in themselves that they can complete the program and that they're going to graduate. And at that point, I know that we're reaching them. And all it takes is love, patience, and caring.
And you sure give them that. I know that this program reaches out to people who've had a lot of barriers in their lives, some really difficult backgrounds, and we're trying to get them ready to go out and get employment despite all of that. And I know some of them have been ex-offenders, and they probably are a little bit different to work with. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we do take students from all walks of life. Some of them may have spent 30 plus years in jail. So coming into the program to having to be around a lot of people and really working as a team, when you come from jail, you have to like watch your back and you're kind of standoffish. But we do have a video that we want to play of one of our former students. His name is Chilo.
My name's Isidro Soto. I come from a large family in South Los Angeles, and we were very poor. I grew up as an innocent little kid. I mean, I didn't know I was poor. But then I got involved into other things. By the age of 13, I was in a lot of trouble, and I became a gang member in LA. I gave the state of California 18 years. I did 16 years in federal prison, and I came here to Oakland in April 27th of 23. I've been out 6 months now, and it's still weird. I mean, walking around, I don't like people walking back on me. Sirens go off, and my heart beats super fast. I'm still trying to adjust. The technology is really kicking my butt. There was even time that I was just frustrated with a lot of the technology, and I just said, you know, I'd rather just go back to prison, not deal with anything. That I have to turn a new page in my life. And when I learned about this program, and I've always been fascinated with cooking. And I guess it keeps my demons at bay because it's therapy. Cooking is therapy to me. While in prison, 34 years or so, I've always worked in the kitchen. You get a gratification. It's kind of, wow, they like what I made. And while at the halfway house here in Oakland, I learned about this place. And Nicole called me on the phone and practically interviewed me on the phone. They teach us about interviews, and when you go to interviews, I've never really been on interviews. It brings something that I didn't know I had in me. I guess the chef Ron here, he's seen something in me, and he pulled me to the side once, and he says, "You know what? I like what you're doing. Keep doing it." Mm-hmm. Coming here to this cooking class, I mean, it opens up a lot of things. Nicole called me about 2 weeks before our graduation, and she said that she had something special for me. I went to the first interview. I went to orientation as of today, and I was hired. I was hired immediately after the first interview. It's just surreal because I just left the program, the class and now I have a job. It's at another shelter. I would love doing that because I love doing cooking here. Mm-hmm. You're feeding almost 600 people a day, and you get a gratification from that. I lived on a pretty negative life at one time. It felt bad, but thanks to, because I do believe in God, Jesus Christ, and I think He's the biggest part of why good things are happening to me. Why He put this program here in front of me. My message would be for anyone out there that feels that they're lost out there, man, just give this a try. I think I came a long way in the last 6 months.
So we have a student here by the name of Tone that has a similar story to Chilo's, and I'm going to ask Tone if he will come up to the stage, please.
You want to switch sides? Like before? Welcome, Tone.
Hi, Tone. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. So I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay, go.
What is your greatest success and accomplishment while attending KOC?
While I was attending KOC, my greatest accomplishment was actually getting to know the staff at St. Vincent de Paul. and actually realizing everything that I was looking for in life was right here. I was learning to serve. I wanted to serve. The people around here model that every day. And you know you're the best of that.
Thank you.
You are the best of that.
And how did the program enrich your life?
The program enriched my life. A lot of you don't know my story. I spent over a quarter of a century incarcerated, coming out, and I needed to get my chef certifications back just to go to work. And like Jason, I came through St. Vincent just for that. I wasn't looking for this. I learned how to model. Chef Ron's amazing. The program here, every day I saw people serving, volunteers serving. Even worse than the employees, they just all day long, you were learning how to put life back together. And I thought I had a job. Now I have a career. I have the goal that I want. That's my biggest goal. I'm in the job that I wanted for the rest of my life.
That's good. So how is life going for you right now?
Life is going good for me because even though you think you're succeeding, we hit bumps in the road. Coming out of incarceration, I had some issues that I'm still dealing with, learning how to reimagine and reinvent my life. Everybody at St. Vincent's every day helps me reinvent my life. The employees, the staff, from the management, the faults that I had, they work with me every day to put my life back together. St. Vincent cares more about me, the person, than they do the employee, which made me want to be here every day. This is how I navigate my life.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much for sharing your
Oh, wait,
story.
thank you.
Thank
You guys are grooming people of service.
Thank you.
You're teaching people how to model it. Thank you.
Tone and I are going to step off the stage now, and I'm going to invite Marcel Lloyd, our Director of Programs, to come back up.
Before we get in our next section, I hope you all are truly enjoying this program we have today. The testimonials that we have had today have been ground shaking for me. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know all of the testimonials from Jason, from Tone to Laverne. And I think what we're doing at St. Vincent de Paul is amazing, and how we've had the opportunity to impact these individual lives. So I just want to say thank you, Tone. Thank you, Jason, one more time.
Thank you for joining us today and for your support for St. Vincent de Paul. Marcel and I will now let you know how to make a gift today.
Your gift will make a huge difference for those we serve. For example, a monthly gift of $25, a monthly gift of just $25 will provide diapers for a family for 1 year. A monthly gift of $50, again, a monthly gift of $50 will provide 30 backpacks and school supplies for families in need.
And 2 monthly gifts of $100 will support 1 student for our job training program.
All right, so here's the fun part. Here's how you go. Here's where you go to help. Please go to www.svdp-alameda.org and click on the Donate Now button. Select or enter your donation amount, then choose whether this is a one-time donation or is this going to be a monthly donation. Select your payment method and enter that information into the form.
Please give wherever it is most needed or the program you want to support. Then enter information if this is a gift in honor of someone. Finally, click on the Donate Now and you are finished.
I'd like to thank you again for your support for St. Vincent de Paul and for those we serve.
Yes, thank you for all that you do.
At this time, I'm going to welcome back our wonderful Executive Director, Blaise Boba.
Thank you so much, Marcel and Nicole, and thank you to all of you who attended right here live and to those of you who are attending virtually from everywhere. We hope it was a good event for all of you. Nicole, in her eternal optimism, has already reassured all of us that we are going to make the money that we need today. So you guys can help us with that and make sure that that prophecy is fulfilled. Don't forget that we have an auction that's still running for 2 more days. Your invitation has the URL of that auction. There's still some good deals there. And now especially for folks who are watching remotely, who may not have been on this campus before, but if folks who are here would like to join us, you can too. We're going to take a little tour of our downtown direct service campus. But we are in the community center, which is our kind of our front door. It's where anyone who needs help can come and get help. And this includes showers, clothing, laundry, haircuts. We're focused on unhoused people primarily, unhoused men and women, but we also have some special services for families, many of whom are housed, but it's precariously. And as Brenda mentioned earlier, we do a lot of special things in our Women's Center, which we'll be seeing in just a minute. So what we do in the community center when folks come in is sit down with them on each visit and have a chance to just say, how are you doing? And what can we do for you? And that sometimes starts a whole conversation about ways that we can really intervene and help them move their lives forward. And while they're here, they can get that shower, they can get a haircut, they can do their laundry, and also just have a place of respite to stay. The clothing closet right over here might be worth seeing. So we're going to walk this way. I'm going to try to get better at walking backwards. Good crowd. Yeah. Just going to get good at not looking in front of her, but looking on the screens. So this is our clothing closet where folks can come to get a change of clothes. It looks just like a St. Vincent de Paul thrift store, except it's smaller and everything in here is free. It's all given away to unhoused people. Ryan's going to check something on our camera at the moment. Get new clothing on a regular basis. And the nice thing is that they can come back and wash that clothing here. We have a men's center where there are several showers and several washers and dryers so that folks, men who are unhoused can do their laundry as well as getting showers, being cleaned up. And in our women's center, we have 4 washers and 6 dryers so that not only single women can do a little bit of laundry, but families can come and do full family's laundry here, which as you can imagine, really can save a family. So let's actually walk towards the Women's Center next. We're going to come back through the community center. Hope that everyone's able to hear well enough to put something in the chat if you can't, and it'll eventually get back to us. Let's see how this can go. We have a little computer lab down here, which is a great place for soft skills training for our Kitchen of Champions program. And we can even do other kinds of one-on-one help when we have volunteers available to teach that sort of thing. So I'll step inside for a second. We don't need to make it a long stop. Just a quick look around. And then we're going to walk down this way. These are sorting bins for donated clothing. A lot of donors bring their clothing here to our campus, and we have volunteers who come and sort those. As you can see, we are always in need of men's clothes. The women's we're doing okay, but on men's jeans, there's actually a sign that says, please put all men's pants on hangers and directly into the clothing closet because we can't keep enough of them here. This is the back entrance of our women's center. We call this the baby room. It's where moms can come up here. Dads could as well, if it was a single dad. But typically it's a mom that can come here, and if they have infants, they can get diapers. We give a lot of diapers away here. Obviously, a family can save a lot of money by getting diapers from us. We have kids' clothes of all different sizes and all types. We have infant formula, and we offer a lot of other things for parents, including little groups and things that are led by volunteers. We have some great events for them too, as Brenda mentioned earlier, everything from Mother's Day parties to kids' birthday parties to other things that families can celebrate together in our facility. This is the laundry that I was describing earlier. Plenty of washers, plenty of dryers to keep them busy on the days that we're open. We close today just for this event. And this is a great space for different kinds of activities. Brenda mentioned the sip and paint that happens here. and special activities for breast cancer awareness, domestic violence awareness, and all sorts of things that are helpful to the women that we're serving. And back here is our showers. Go in there, 3 nice showers. This place is kept really, really clean. We have a great playroom for children. I don't think we'll take time. Well, let's go ahead and see it. So take a little side of the products we give away. There. This is the kids' playroom. It's not a daycare center as such, but it is a place where if mom is here to do the family's laundry.
Recording in progress.
Here, it's still kind of in sight of mom, and we have staff and volunteers to keep an eye on things too. This is a beautiful little playroom. We've developed it in coordination with some other nonprofit groups, including one called Girls Garage, that teaches girls and teenage girls mostly to do construction trades. So they've built all of the furniture in this room for us, and all of the other things have been donated at different times. We'll head out this way. Back from where we came for just a minute. Back to my backwards walking. If I don't hit anything. And we're going to go see our food locker next. Right out here. These are more donation bins. This is the unsorted donations as they first come to us before volunteers have a chance to sort them. And at the end of this hallway is our food locker. Now, the food locker has a couple of purposes. The food that comes here is mostly reclamation food, meaning supermarket chains don't want to try to sell it anymore. Maybe it's getting too close to the expiration date. Maybe it got dirty, or one of the cans is dented and spilled on the other ones, anything like that. That they need to get rid of that food, we'll go and pick it up from them and bring it here. It's over 500,000 pounds a year of food that comes to us, and it provides almost all of the food that we need to serve 600 lunches a day in our dining room, but it also provides food for our local chapters, which we call conferences, so that they can take that food and make food boxes for the families that they serve. They help families right in their own neighborhoods, normally by doing home visits and bringing food to them. Once they're in the home, they can also learn about other aspects of that family situation. And when they see a family that is behind on rent or utilities, especially when we can see that they're going to be okay once we help them, that's when we can direct our resources to actually pay that rent bill or that utility bill. Typically, we were looking for families that have a reason that they're behind, a crisis of some sort, a car breakdown, time off work, an illness, hospitalization, and families that have, those same families should have the sustainability of being okay on their own once we help them. So folks who aren't making any income would be tougher to help than ones who normally are able to pay their rent, but this month there's a reason that they're behind. That's a great use of our resources. And donors' resources, donors' gifts that go to that program, all of the money that a donor gives goes directly to that family's rent or utilities, because all that work is done by volunteers. There's no paid staff, no marketing department. It's kind of an untold story because they don't do a lot of their own marketing, and they're very humble people. But when a donor gives $500 to help somebody with rent, all 500 of those dollars go right to that rent. These are our local chapters. You can take a look at them on the little map here. I've had one or two of them combined since this map was done, but you can see that they're kind of scattered all over Alameda County, and they're based in Catholic parishes. We're not part of the Catholic Church, but we can serve out of their parish, and by working with their parishioners to get some financial support for the work that those local chapters do. And as I mentioned, the food here in our food bank that comes from grocery stores is available to those volunteers to bring to the families that they're serving. The next stop is going to be our dining room, and between here and there's probably a dead spot for the Wi-Fi, so I'm not going to say much and make it a little jumpy, but I'm pretty sure we'll be fine once we get back inside the other building. So we're going to walk out on our loading dock now, where our food reclamation happens. And I think partway down this hallway, maybe around here, should be a time that I think we've got a good connection in. So these are our coolers, great big coolers and a freezer. All of these are old and actually in need of being replaced. We have a plan that this spring they're going to be replaced, but you can imagine a walk-in cooler. Let me show you one of them. 3 walk-in coolers this size, plus a freezer that's about 2.5 times that size or 3 times that size. It's a pretty expensive project to replace. So some of the donations that you're offering us today are going to go towards that project so that we can have coolers that are reliable, don't ever break down, and they don't have floods like some of them do from the condenser. Let's cut through the laundry room so that we can see our dining room. Thank you. So we just finished serving lunch and the dining room is getting all cleaned up. This is a dining room in the daytime. Before COVID, we served all of our meals inside. Everyone would wait in line outside. They'd come through the serving line right here and get their plate of food and just take it and sit down, and then they could go back around and get another plate or 2 or 3. And in the back area, we had and have a family and elderly section so that anyone who's disabled or elderly or has kids with them can eat back there in a more private area where it's restaurant style. So our volunteers will actually greet them at the door, bring them to a table, sit them down, ask them what they'd like to eat from our menu, go get food for them from the steam table and bring it back to them, and then ask if they'd like more. So it's really a very nice level of service for folks like that. And we've started, when COVID hit, we stopped the main dining room service indoors and we started serving hot food outside. But we've recently reopened the family section. So we are serving indoors again, but just for families and elderly and disabled. We're actually in need of a few more volunteers before we'll be able to reopen the full dining room and start serving everyone indoors again. In the evening, this room is our shelter. When we have fewer than 65 people in the shelter, as we almost always do, we can keep it all in this one room and save money on staffing. And we separate a women's section in the back. About 3/4 of our shelter residents are men, and the other quarter is women. So everybody can fit in here in the evening. And then in the morning, when after everybody has breakfast, we fold up the cots and get this room ready to be a dining room again. And the same thing happens this afternoon. It's transitioning from a dining room to a shelter, kind of as we speak. This is our dish room right behind us, and we're going to go into the kitchen now. It might be a little bit loud. And then we're just about done with the tour. Some of the folks that are in here still, there were a lot more folks earlier, are volunteers, and others are students in the Kitchen of Champions program. And as you can see, it's a pretty good sized commercial kitchen. It's ready to make a lot of meals here, which we do. We pay about 600 a day. We have an area back here that we call the Volunteer Center, where we take calls from people needing help and other calls from our supporters, where we do a lot of administrative tasks and where our volunteers check in to get welcomed and appreciated, and where we even send out thank you letters. But it's often so it's not the most appealing looking on a tour. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up here. I know it's a little bit loud in here, but I want to thank everyone who came along with us on this tour, and thank you, Alicia, for your excellent camera work. And I think we will go ahead and end here.